Hello! Happy Sunday. Paul is the best for UK here and welcome to today's Game of Day video. So today we're looking at CJ's Elephant Antics on the Commodore 64. I'm using the tape version in my emulator, and the great thing about the emulator is you can load it in real time just like you would have done back in the day. You probably wouldn't want to do that most of the time because it takes like over 10 minutes to load the game. But it's very nostalgic, and I can always remember these Codemaster style colourful raster bars that they always used to have on the Commodore 64. I always remember the Codemasters loading schemes on the Spectrum more vividly though. But yeah, this is Codemasters CJ's Elephant Antics, the Commodore 64 version. Shall we warp it up a bit? Let's speed it up a bit because we're not going to be waiting 10 minutes, are we? If you want me to do a full load of it, I can easily do that. But yeah, there's a loading picture. Back in the day, to make the weight, if you was like glued to the television screen, and to make the weight a little bit less horrible, they always used to provide some lovely artwork, which was not representative of the game's graphics. It was like drawn in a paint package or some sort of tool, artist tool. But yeah, it's something nice to look at. And there's one good thing, as you probably already know, most of your Commodore 64 fans will anyway, that some games even had music on the Commodore 64 whilst I was loading, and some even went a step further and you had a playable game whilst the main game was loading. That was some clever wizardry trickery there. But yeah, that's CJ's Elephant Antics. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up so we can get into the game. So now we're running at 300% speed. You couldn't do this back in the day. This is because of the emulator I'm using. So interestingly, the Commodore 64 version has a intro sequence that is not present on the Spectrum or the Amstrad CPC. I can't remember this back in the day actually. I can't remember this intro. Is this a special edition version I've got? Let me know in the comments if this was on all versions of the game or just a special edition. Okay, so I pressed the fire button. Maybe I just skipped it or something because it didn't seem to be doing anything. Now it's continuing loading. So let's warp it up again. Let's increase our speed to 300%. I don't remember that intro sequence. Maybe it was always there. Maybe I never had the cassette version back in the day. I can't. In fact, I don't even know if I had the game back in the day. I might have only played this on an emulator, like back in the day. Like a more recent day, because I used to play it on an emulator, that's definite. This is not the first experience of CJ's Elephant Antics on the Commodore 64. So let's wait for it to load. It should be loaded anytime now. Yeah, quite often the screen will blank out before the game's finished loading. I'm wondering if that's something to do with having to clear RAM. I don't know. Let me know in the comments why they did that, why the loading screen doesn't stay on all the way. I am educatedly guessing, or self-taught guessing, that that's probably because you need to clear some RAM buffer maybe. Can you please let me know in the comments about that? Because I don't actually know the reason why a lot of games did that, and there was a lot of games where you had the loading picture. Wow, this game takes ages to load even on warp mode. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, a lot of games used to do that. Anyway, let's turn warp off because it's going too fast now. Right, okay, so this is CJ Elephant Antics. It's written by, well, I was gonna okay, Dave Clark, graphics by Jonathan Smith, music by Ashley Hogg. So this version I think is converted by Genesis Software Developments, not to be confused with Sega Genesis, of course. I don't think Genesis Software Developments had anything to do with the Spectrum version. Looks like they've tried to make this really posh compared to the Spectrum version, actually. If you check out the Spectrum version, you'll see what I mean. There's not all these fancy screens at this point. But yeah, let's start the game. Let's see what we got with this one. Right, so on to France. Right, okay, so this is oh, you fuck, I'm dead already. This is CJ's Elephant Antics on the Commodore 64. Now what I'm going to say about this version is it's quite impressive for what it is, but the only problem is I had the Spectrum version first, so the Spectrum version is much more nostalgic to me. Presumably this is technically superior to the Spectrum version because the Spectrum version has doesn't have hardware scrolling for a start, and it uses different sprites and stuff. So yeah, and the music I like better on the Spectrum, even though it's the same tune. I like the way the AY does it better. But yeah, this is CJ Elephant Antics on the Commodore 64. Looks like it's been programmed by an entirely different team than the Spectrum and Amstrad CPC version. Maybe they came out first and these guys, Genesis Developments, have converted it to be more suitable for the Commodore 64. I think back in the day, if you had a friend who had a Commodore 64 and you had the Spectrum or the Amstrad, and then you would be having a bit of a fight saying which one's better, sort of thing, like the Playground Wars. If I'm honest, just probably because of nostalgia, I prefer the Spectrum version. I think I've done a review of the Spectrum version on my channel before. This technically is probably superior because it's got hardware scrolling up, down, and left and right. I don't think even the Nintendo NES could do that. Not properly. But yeah, that's CJ's Elephant Antics on the Commodore 64. I'm going to give that one a nice 8 out of 10. I think it's a really decent game, whichever format you're on. So I'd like to thank you for watching. Goodbye!